Hey you guys, it's Lacey, and I'm coming to you with a review of the assassination of Gianni Versace. So we're going to get into it real quick. It starts off, I believe, July 15th, 1997. Um, the scene starts off with Gianni waking up, and his morning routine is starting. He's gonna get dressed. He's gonna put his robe on. As far as him getting dressed, he's gonna take his medication. Um, he goes down to his corridor with all his servants, and he gets his juice, eats his breakfast, kisses his lover, gets dressed fully, then goes out on his morning walk. Um, and then between that scene, it goes to the beach. It phases out, zooms out to the beach where Andrew Cunanan is on the shore. And he's looking at the book for about the man who was Vogue, and pulls out his gun, and then he puts the book and the gun back in his bag, and then he pulls his pants down. And interesting enough, he has like a legion on his left inner thigh, and I was like, that's interesting that they would show that along with Gianni having medication that he takes in the morning. So then he puts all of that in the bag, takes the hat off, walks into the water, and he starts screaming. I think it's out of frustration because he's sick. I think he's upset because he is sick. Um, I think he must have HIV. Think his health is pretty much compromised, which is why he has that legion. Because they made a point to show that legion. That was a nasty motherfucker. So then he comes out the water. He's walking around. He has his backpack. He has to go to this bathroom stall, and he's vomiting again. I think it's because he's sick. His health is compromised, and then he sees a racial, not a racial, but a homophobic slur on the bathroom stall. Then the scene goes straight to Gianni. He's going out for his morning walk. He's going to see people. He's going to buy magazines, one with Diana in particular. Then, he talks to a few people. He comes back. Andrew sees him, and then he proceeds to walk toward him and shoot at him 3 times, misses the first time, and shoots him twice in the face. Now, I did not know that he shot Gianni twice in his face. I was like, that's really fucked up the way his face was. But, a 40 caliber bullet would do that shit to you. Um, so then the scene after he shoots him goes straight to the introduction. Then it flashes into, what was it? 1990. I don't know the month. I'm not even going to give a fuck about the month. Flashes into 1990, where he's in the home of a man and a woman. I'm trying to figure out if he's related to them, because that would be the only explanation for him to just randomly be there. I think he might be related to one of them. He jumps in bed. Before he does, he comes in the room. He's rubbing his testicles right by the man's head. And I was like, that is so disrespectful. Unless y'all have that type of arrangement. Which, after the husband wakes up, I assume they don't have that type of arrangement. But you never know. He jumps in the bed. He talks to the lady. And he talks to both of them. He said, guess what I meant? Who'd you meet? I met Gianni Versace. She's like, oh my God, tell me everything. And the husband rolls over. He's like, I don't believe you. You're completely full of shit. I highly doubt you met Gianni. So he goes in the story. He talks about how he was in the club, and it goes to, he's in the club and he met him in San Francisco. And I invited him to the opera. And Gianni was talking to some. This shows you how insane Andrew is, and how incredibly rude. Of course, being rude and insane might go hand in hand. He's talking to somebody, and Andrew just has to get Gianni's interest. He just has to get his attention. He does not give a fuck that he's talking to somebody else. He's absolutely rude. Just doesn't give a shit. Completely entitled, and you can see it. So, he's talking to somebody, and he's trying to just keep interjecting, and Gianni's finally like, oh, sorry, do I know you? Like, who the fuck are you? And he was like, oh, yeah, you met me at your party, Legos party or something on your shore by one of your homes. And he's like, doing the whole not trying to embarrass Gianni thing. So Gianni being nice, he's like, oh, well. I remember you, but for you to remember me, you as Gianni Versace, oh goodness, that would mean everything. That would be a whole different ball game. And so Gianni plays along, being the nice guy that they're portraying him to be. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that must have been where it was. So he keeps talking. He starts talking about his mother being Italian, and then Gianni finally asks him, where's his mother from? He's like, oh, she's from Palermo. And he's like, oh, I used to, no, where's her parents from? And he's like, oh, my grandparents are from Palermo. He's like, oh, I used to take I think the ferry or something to Palermo. I used to ride through there. So they started talking, and he invites him to the opera. So, he's talking, the scene flashes forward to him talking to one of his friends. I forget what the gentleman's name is. So, he's talking, and his friend is like, you know what? Is it real? Did you really meet Gianni? Are you really going out with him? Because you just told somebody, I heard you tell somebody that you were Jewish and you're Catholic. Like I believe he might have been molested and sexually assaulted by a priest. And if he's Catholic, I can completely believe that. I can completely believe that. And he was like, well, it's not a big deal if they don't know the truth. He was like, and then his friend was like, but it is a big deal because you know the truth. If you know, that's all that matters. And he was like, I tell people what they need to hear. And he was like, can't even tell people that you're gay. He said, I tell people I'm gay all the time. I've been saying it for years. His friend said, you tell gay people that you're gay. You tell straight people that you're straight. First of all, I want to pause. I can't possibly believe that anybody would believe this motherfucker's straight. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be insensitive. I highly doubt that shit. I really do. That's like Derek J saying, oh, I'm heterosexual. No, you're not. Nope. No, you're not. I refuse to believe that. But, he was like, no, I just tell people what I need, what I feel they need to, hear. And I'm like, see, I'm already not liking this. You are a murderer, so, I suppose you would have those traits. You would be a liar, too. You would take somebody's life, But he was like, he told Andrew's friend was like, listen, I know I'm not Mr. Popularity and I'm not impressive and I might not be the hottest guy, but I'm nice and I'm kind. And he basically was telling him, like, look, man, I love you. Like, I'm not everything, but I can be your everything. And he was like, okay. It's like, this blew him off because he's not what he wanted. Because Andrew he wants the fame and he wants the lights, and this is a very common guy. He can't give him that, so he doesn't want him. And I'm like, that's just so fucked up. It's absolutely fucked up, but it is what it is. I think it's good because I hate to see somebody so nice be with somebody as insane as Andrew. He would ruin his whole life. And like, that would be completely unfair. So he was like, nevertheless, my date with Gianni is very real. And, the other gentleman, he's very brokenhearted. He's like, okay, well, I'm glad that it's real. Basically just telling him, like, have a good time, that type of vibe. So then he gets back to the house where he resides currently, for now. And I think they're in San Francisco, that's all I can tell you, because his school was at UC Berkeley. I believe that's San Francisco. He went to UC Berkeley. So he went back to his house where he lives, and he didn't have any clothing. He's looking at Vogue magazines and Versace articles. He didn't have any clothing for his big, date with Gianni. And so he went into the husband and wife's room, took a suit from the husband, and the wife came in and she was like, you should have asked before you took things. And he was like, I'm just trying to be impressive. And she's like, well, you know how women are. It's like, okay, I guess it wasn't that bad. It just wasn't that much of a harm. It's just a suit. So she was like, well, you look nice. And he was like, that's not what I was going for. And I was like, yeah, impressive and nice is not the same department. Thanks for that. So she puts on her husband's watch. I believe it was a Rolex. And he did look stunning. I liked the get up. He looked nice. So he was like, now this is impressive. She's like, you really have a problem, just a little jokingly and everything. So he fast forward to the opera. He gets there. He's walking in. He's looking dapper. It was very nice. an older gentleman who I don't know if he's closeted or not. I think he might have been with his wife. I don't know. I'm sorry for moving the camera, you guys. That's my foot. But an older gentleman, he was looking at him, checking him out and everything. He liked him, and he was tipping his glasses, basically, letting him know, I see you seeing me. And he keeps walking, strutting by because he's cute. And he sees some opera glasses on the table. Don't know whose they are. He doesn't give a shit. Andrew takes shit. He'll take your money. He'll take your home. Take your gold coins. He'll take your life. He doesn't care. Andrew takes shit. That's what Andrew does. What he did, whatever. So he takes the glasses off the table. He walks in and he goes to the opera. He's listening to the opera. Before we get to like the opera itself, the performance of the opera, we're introduced again to Gianni and showing how humble he is. And, basically he was like, I'm nothing without you. You are my creation. You are my instrument. And she was looking down and he was like, no, look at the mirror. I need to see you. And my mother was what did Donatella say she was? She was a franca. A franca. She made clothes. She was a seamstress and a designer herself. So she made clothing. And he was like, well, my mother, she wasn't satisfied unless the people she's making clothes for were happy. They were happy, she was happy, and she was satisfied. It was to her liking. And he was like, I'm not even here. Basically, forget I'm here. This is all about you. And once she starts smiling and all the rest of that, and I didn't like her outfit, but I liked the concept of it, like the dark print with the bright, emblems around it. I didn't like the outfit, but I wasn't wearing it, so it doesn't matter. But we get to the actual performance. I think she sounded so beautiful. I never used to be an opera person, but after some years of my mom and her, her being classically trained and me having to go to school with her, I think I started to like it. I started to like it a little bit more, but I thought, she sounded very beautiful. Um, so then while she's performing, we go flash on to Andrew and he's looking around at his opera classes and he sees another gentleman in the balcony across from him and he's checking him out. He's not the most attractive fellow in the face, I wouldn't say. He's not that attractive, but, whatever. If you like that type of thing, that's fine. Um, so obviously Andrew didn't think he was attractive either, so he just like Mayday and retreat, abort mission. And so he looked onto the stage, and as he's looking on the stage, he's looking past the stage, and I believe he's looking at Gianni. And then the scene ends. Hits this eerie note, which I thought was beautiful because that's the eerie moment they're about to have. Andrew talks to keep forgetting this man's name, Gianni. Andrew's talking to Gianni about his family, his father, who I found out. I was watching some videos. I found out he's talking about his father leaving his mother for his boyfriend. I don't know if his father was gay. I do know he finally did leave their family in LA, in California rather, and went back to the Philippines because his father is Filipino and his mother is Italian. So I know he did leave them because he made good money. And from what I understand of the story, there were 4 children, and Andrew Cunanan was he was the baby of all of the 4, and he was spoiled. He was the baby. He was the brat. So his father made good money, and he spent most of his money on Andrew. Andrew got the best room in the house. I think he got a Porsche. He got new clothes. He got new everything. So when his father left, he went to go be with his father. And this part is not in the show. This is just some interviews that I saw because I was interested. I've never heard of Andrew Cunanan before the assassination of Gianni Versace came on the TV. I've never heard of Andrew Cunanan, not once. I've never heard of the man. So I went and saw some videos, some news, news clips and everything. Because now that it's on TV, it's everywhere. So especially on YouTube. So I saw some clips and he was talking about his brother and sister was doing an interview talking about, their father left America and went back to the Philippines. Andrew went with them, I believe, because he was his favorite. So he went back with him. But he's like, in the Philippines, there's so much, squalor and poverty. He's not like in America, and it's certainly not what he was accustomed to with what his father was, providing him financially. Because he had gone to the best boarding school. I think it was the church or something, churches or something, the bishop's court, something, the bishops. And he was like, I'm really not into this. It's really poor here, and it's the Philippines. I think it's a third world country. So if you're not used to that, that should have turned you off. Like, no, I'm cool. And he kind of had this thing like, I'm never gonna be poor again. I'm gonna do whatever I have to do. And so, he was an escort and all of that. But getting back to the show, he was saying, oh, his father left his mother for his boyfriend, which I don't know if that's true or not. He might have. Um, he let's say his father or something used to fly for Elbelina or something, and was transporting. Somebody was transporting pineapples. I don't remember. I really didn't give that much of a fuck about the pineapples. I didn't give a shit. Um, so yeah, he was just talking to him about his dad and everything, and how he is of great wealth and stature when he's not. His daddy had money, and he did a lot for him a little while ago when he was in boarding school, but now, uh, he doesn't quite have that. So I was talking to him about writing a novel, and Gianni was like, you know what, I admire people who can write novels. He said, I think it takes great patience, and I don't have that type of patience. I have a great admiration for people who can sit down and be still and focus. He said, because I can't really focus, and my clothes kind of are like, and I can see that he doesn't focus on one thing. His clothes kind of like reveal that to me, that it's a lot of things all over the place, and I kind of like his pieces. I really do. I think they're beautiful. Um, so they were talking, and he was like, you know what? When my novel becomes a movie, I know you don't design shoes, but you should. And Gianni was like, that's not my forte, but you know what? Maybe I will for you in the movie. He's like, you know what, Andrew Cunanan. Andrew was saying, maybe I should change my name to Andrew De Silva. And he was like, no, no. You need to be proud of you. You need to be proud of who you are. And that really, at that moment, that showed a sheer difference between Andrew and Gianni. Gianni was like, this is me. This is all of me. I want you to take it, and I want you to love it. And Andrew was always like, I want to get anything I can quickly as possible. I don't care who I have to pretend to be. I don't care who I have to hurt. I don't care who I have to murder. I want to get to the top. And you saw that difference between them. And then right after that, show fast forwards to him shooting him. He's on the ground. I believe it's either a dove or a pigeon. It looks too pretty to be a pigeon. But the bird is on the ground. The bird's been shot. He's been shot. That man shot him out of his shoes. When I tell you, when you see the scene and he's laying face down on his stairs, he got one flip flop here and one flip flop over here. He literally shot him out his damn shoes. I was like, you're just a terrible person, and you probably don't even give a shit. You probably don't give a fuck. You're just a terrible person. So then, you see Gianni's boyfriend Antonio. He can hear the gunshots. Everybody hears the gunshots. One of his servants, I think one of his friends, one of Gianni's friends, comes out, sees Gianni on the ground. He's dead. Feels his pulse. He looks around. He sees Andrew and says, "Hey." Andrew looks back and he takes off running. So he comes after him, and then Antonio comes out. He sees Gianni, and naturally he's heartbroken. This is his love and his man. His man is on the ground bleeding, and he's been shot. So, oh boy, Gianni and Antonio's friend, he chases Andrew, and he's gaining on Andrew. Andrew's like, fuck this. He turns around, points his gun in his face. He stops. I ain't mad at you. I would have stopped too. And he runs off. Okay, now he runs off into this parking garage and he gets into this red truck that he's stolen and had, that's another episode. He gets into this red truck. He sits there. He flips out. He's like, he's like making like, and he's laughing and crying. He's completely damaged mentally. And you can tell it in that scene, especially. I'm like, who the fuck laughs and cries about killing people? What is your problem? Then, you don't really want to ask those questions because that person probably has a lot of problems. It's like, you ask them, what is your problem? You might be there all week. So we don't have that type of time. So we're just not going to, ixnay on that question. So, he's laughing and crying and he's just manic. And then once he gets himself together, he takes a breath, gets his bag, has to change clothes, and he dips out. Now, at the same time, Antonio is holding Gianni. Gianni's bleeding all over the place. Antonio is crying manically. He can't keep himself together, and I wouldn't be able to keep myself glued either. The man is dying. So, his blood is all over the place. The cops are coming in. Antonio's like, call an ambulance, call an ambulance. There should have already been an ambulance there. They live in a nice area. So you would think in nice areas, the police and the ambulance and the fire department, they come rather quickly. So, you would think, I need you to hurry this along. Where the hell are you? You know what I'm saying? It don't never take, I've never seen it take that long for an ambulance and cops to come in a nice place. In the hood, yeah, they'll wait 30 minutes. They trying to make sure you die. Like, just wait a little bit, and nigga ain't dead yet. So, I'm like, this is a very nice, astute place. Y'all taking too long to get an ambulance to Gianni. I'm like, y'all, a part of me was like, y'all doing this shit on purpose because he's gay. And this is the 90s. You ain't really with that. I feel like a lot of that, it just took too long. It took way too long for them to go get them. So then the cops are there. They're waiting on the ambulance. Antonio is crying. People are surrounding the house, surrounding the estate. As Antonio is screaming, get the ambulance, get the ambulance, some random surfer-looking type dude, he runs off to his car, gets the camera, comes back. The ambulance comes. By that time, the ambulance does come. They put Gianni on the stretcher, put him in the ambulance, and before they put him all the way in, old boy from the surfer dude, he's taking a picture of Gianni. Y'all, that shit pissed me off. By the time the ambulance got there and they put him in that fucking stretcher in the back of the ambulance, I shit you not. I shit you not. He takes a picture, goes to those reporters and say, I have the only picture of Gianni Versace. The bidding will start at $30,000. I would have shot him myself. Like, bitch, if you don't sit down, this is not the time for you to get a money grab. The man is dead. Have some decency. Who raised you people? My God. Everything is not a money grab. You're just so selfish. Be compassionate. Oh boy just lost his man. Like, my goodness. And then another thing pissed me off. Here comes, there's this earlier in the show, there was an older couple. They wanted, an autograph from Gianni. He was like, not today. And some people was like, oh, you don't ever do that to your fans. But then I understand, because sometimes, like, I might need a day. I have fans, but I am a person, and I need a day. And maybe I don't want to be bothered, It ain't no big deal. I just need a day. And so the same couple, the husband and the wife are standing behind the yellow tape. The wife rips a picture of Versace, commercial out of the magazine. She rips the page out of the magazine, ducks under the yellow line, walks up to the blood on Gianni's blood on his steps of his house, presses the magazine page in his blood, and then runs back under the yellow tape and puts it in a plastic bag. And her husband helps her put it in a plastic bag. I'm like, between you and that motherfucker with the camera, you ain't shit. And I hope you die slow. That man is going through a crisis right now, and all you thinking about is getting something where you can make money off of it. Like, why was that necessary? And that man, his blood, if he's taking certain medications, well, if he had HIV, by the time the blood hits oxygen, it really wouldn't be a problem. But you still, with pathogens, you don't know what else that man had. He could have had all types of pathogens that could survive in oxygen. You don't want to be up there touching people's blood. You don't know what people be doing. You don't do that. I'm like, I hate people. Like, even when somebody is dying, you have no fucking respect. Like, who raised y'all? Ugh, that pissed me off. So now we flashing forward to the scene where Gianni is getting rushed to the hospital. They're pulling him out of the stretcher as fast as they can. He's going into the hospital. He's going into the operation room. They are doing CPR and they're doing the chest compressions. 3 breaths, 30 compressions. Sorry, I got it mixed up. And they're, trying to keep his pulse, but he's lost too much blood. He's been out there too long. That they would have got to him sooner. Maybe there might have been a difference. But, they keep doing the 3 the 3 breaths and the 30 compressions. And his pulse is there, but it's weakening. And then he dies. They keep trying and they keep trying. He dies. And there's a black nurse, I think a black doctor. She's there. She's watching everything. I think she might have been Gianni's personal doctor. And I think that's why she was so concerned. He dies. He dies at 9:21 in the morning on July 15th, 1997. And they're like, that's basically it. And so they would flash into, they're looking for the suspect now. And it was like, oh, the man has on a gray shirt and I think glasses and a red cap. So the one of the officers like, I don't see a red cap, but I do see a man with a red shirt. He might be a valet. I think he's Latino. Which is fucked up. We just, like, yeah, you just automatically assume he's Latino, but they are in Miami, so never mind. But yeah, it's like, I think he's Latino. He has a red shirt on. We're gonna check it out. So the dude, he's not a valet. He's taking some wire hanger. When they get all the cops get up there, he got a wire hanger and he's trying to, get into a car. They automatically think it's Andrew Cunanan because, he has a red shirt on and he's, trying to get into a car. It makes it look like he's trying to escape from the scene of the crime. So they run after him. He runs out. They're running. By the time they get to him, I think they said he was on Espanola Street or something. I think it was Espanola. And they couldn't get to him, but it was like almost by the cross. It was at the crosswalk, actually. They were running after him. He was too fast. A cop ran into old boy, slammed him down on the ground, put cuffs on him, turned him around. It was not Andrew Cunanan, whatever the fuck his name is. So then you see the next scene, they flash to actual Andrew. He has on all red and a cap. I think he might have still had the cap on. He has on all red. He's running down the stairs. He finally gets out of the way. He gets to a cab. And then the cab drops him off at some very, very nice hotel. It's a very nice ambiance. I like the whole setup. I like the bar, but that's not the point. We're going to get back to the show. I like houses and buildings and stuff and fashion. I didn't like the layout of houses, but now my mom got me watching HGTV, so fuck it. I like it now. He gets to the hotel. He goes straight into the bathroom. He washes his face and his hands, and he just like, relax, relate, release, relax, relate, release. Just relaxes himself so he doesn't look so suspicious. He comes out, and as he's about to walk out the door, he hears Gianni Versace is dead. And he walks up the stairs to the bar area, and he's standing behind a woman, and she looked really pretty, had a nice shape and everything. She looked very pretty. Standing behind a woman, she's watching the TV on the news, and they're saying he died, and that they're looking for Andrew Cunanan. She puts her hand over her mouth because she's like, she's in awe, like, what the fuck? Who would do this? He puts his hand over his mouth because he's smiling. You're a horrible fucking person. And Andrew, I just want to say, Andrew Cunanan is the reason why you don't play favorites with your children, because they end up nuts. They end up absolutely crazy, and you can't do shit with them. Don't spoil them. Anything spoiled is not fit for use. Do not ever spoil your children, because you have an Andrew Cunanan on your hands. The nigga is gone. Now he actually is gone. But he was mentally just out there. He's just nuts. And who was it? Darren Crisis or whatever his name was. He was on Glee. He did a fabulous job playing him. I really felt the deep insanity and insecurity issues through his acting and portrayal of Andrew. I really felt the insanity, and I really liked it. It's like watching American Horror Story. Yeah, of course it is Ryan Murphy, so you might get that same feel. But I really could feel the insanity of this man through Darren, and I really great actor, just great. So then the scene flashes. It goes to commercial. Then it flashes to Antonio is in the house. He's talking to the cops, and they were like, "Well, who?" Before they talk to the cops, the one FBI agent comes in. He's like, "Who is he?" And it's like, "That's Gianni's lover." And he was like, "Oh." I'm like, Jesus Christ. You know that man has a lover. Stop playing games. You know he's fucking someone consistently. We all know this. Stop it. People might fuck around, but everybody has a main. Okay? You already know this. Don't play games. You have a main. He has a main. Most people have mains, especially men. Okay? He has a main. Let's not play these games. So he talks to Antonio, and he's asking him all these weird questions like he doesn't. I don't think he does quite understand, but I don't think he's trying to understand. I think he's just like, he's being homophobic, and I think he's mocking him basically. Like, who are you? You're his. Like he was like, are you his lover, or did you had other men who came in here, some for sex and some for money and sex and some just for sex and fun. He was like, how did you know that? He was like, well, I asked some of the staff and they told me. He was like, I brought other men here and we shared them, but it was for him. And he was like, he said some of them were paid and some of them weren't. He said, are you paid? He was like, seriously? Am I paid? No, I'm not paid. He's like, well, what's the difference? I don't know the difference between you and the other men. He said, you wouldn't know the difference? The difference is 15 years. That's the difference. The difference is we've shared our life together. We've grown up together. That's the difference. He was like, hey, man, easy, buddy. I'm like, no, it's not easy, buddy. Like, geez, don't have to be so insensitive, especially not at this time. So he's answering questions. And as he's answering questions, you have the scene where Donatella Versace, she's coming off the plane, and she's her and I think her husband, they're coming off the plane and they're driving to goes on. I think they said the address was 1100 Ocean View Avenue. Ocean View Avenue was where Versace's home is. I think that's what they said his address was. I'm not sure. I had to look that up again because I was researching certain videos. So they drive to his house, they get out, they get in, and right as Antonio is kind of wrapping up with this FBI agent, Donatella walks in. Antonio stands up and he has his hand out like this, and she was like, get these officers out of here, please. So they leave, and Donatella is talking to Antonio. He's like, what did you tell them? He's like, what do you mean? Like, what were they asking you? What did you say? He's like, I don't know. They were just asking me about us. And she was like, what did you say? He was like, you know what, Donatella, they're going to find out everything. They're going to find out. And she told him, listen, let me tell you something. Don't tell anybody else anything until I tell you you can say it. It was real gangster, some gangster shit. And I'm not really mad at her because that's her brother and you his boyfriend, but that's my brother. You family, but we blood. So it's a difference. You know what I'm saying? That's my brother, and if some stuff goes down, I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to protect his name. And it was like some real Godfather shit. And I really wasn't mad at it. I wasn't mad because again, Antonio is family, but you blood, we blood. So there is a difference. And so it's just like don't say nothing else to them unless we tell you to, unless we walk through it with you. Nothing else gets said. Then basically they flash to, I believe the cops are having like a press conference, a press junket, and then they get to a car. The FBI agent's car. He's showing the flyers, y'all. He is showing the flyers of Andrew Cunanan FBI most wanted, most wanted flyers. This son of a bitch has been looking for him all over the nation, and his goofy fucking ass never once thought to put them goddamn flyers up. Like, bitch, you could have stopped this shit by the time Andrew got to fucking Minnesota. What is your problem? And the shit pissed me off so bad. It made me feel like they let him go on that manhunt to kill those people because they were gay. Because I'm like, if the FBI really wanted you, there would be no hands off. There would be nowhere they couldn't find you and couldn't touch you. There wouldn't be one place where they couldn't. I'm like, I feel like they did that shit because he was killing gay people. And they're like, well, they just gay people kill them. We don't want them here no way. I'm like, this is the FBI. Since when have you never been able to get your hands on to a motherfucker? With the exception of Azada. That's the only person I know. Azada and Frank Matthews are the only two people I've ever heard of where the FBI couldn't get their hands on them. They either don't know where they are or can't touch them. I'm like, I really feel like the FBI did that shit on purpose, being homophobic. I really feel like they did. I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? You had a whole fucking trunk of flyers and you didn't think once to put these shits out before this motherfucker hit Minnesota? They could have been stopped that shit. Shit pissed me off so bad. Pissed me off so bad. I'm like, bro, you ain't shit. I don't even know why you get paid for this job. You just should retire. You just dropped, like, man, you dropped all types of balls. I don't even know why you here. Take your ass home. Shit pissed me off. So then the one Hispanic lady, I think she's Afro-Latina, she's like, they're all asking him, how many flyers did you put out? And he was like, well, and she said, yeah, officer, how many flyers did you put up? And I'm like, she must have told him about them flyers because that was real like, yeah, I told you so, motherfucker. Because now look, you could have had this situated and now look. He can kill one of the biggest fashion designers in the goddamn world. Look now. Really? Thanks for that. And so he was like, well, trying to act like, how motherfuckers are when they embarrassed they ain't fucked up royally, but they trying to act like they ain't fuck up. I tell you, people and their egos, fuck around and get the whole world blown up. So then, we get to the news. The news is talking about Andrew Cunanan, and now they finally want to put out his face and all of that. Now that he done killed the fifth person, he done fucked around and killed Gianni. Now you want to put his face out there. So now they put his face out there. There's a lady that works at a cash store. She works at like a pawn and gold. One of them little easy gold pawn shops. She calls them and she says that they get on TV and they're talking about Andrew Cunanan. They got his face all over the place. She calls him and she says, listen, he was in here 7 days ago. I reported him being in the store 7 days ago, a week before he killed Gianni Versace. And that one Latina officer, she was like, she rushed out of the store. And I would have too, because that shit pissed me off. This is a person who reported him, and Andrew Cunanan, she reported him, and they didn't do anything. I really feel like they did that on purpose, because they was gay. I think they just let him go around the country killing a bunch of gay people because they didn't give a fuck about him. The same way they let that black man from Cleveland go from Cleveland shooting that old elderly brother to Pennsylvania or Pittsburgh or wherever he was, and they ain't stop him that whole time and couldn't find him. And he was in a new car with a GPS on it, and he was on social media. They could find him anywhere they wanted to. And they finally found him when he went to a white neighborhood. But when he was in Cleveland, they just let him go around shooting everybody. I'm like, yeah, all right. Yeah, you can't find them. All right, okay. Yeah, we don't believe you. That's fine, though. It's the same thing. They just, anybody they feel is undesirable, or the untouchable, they'll just let people go around getting shot. Now, you come to one of their areas, like, no, no, no. We're going to shut this shit down because you're not shooting me. I will not get shot by no niggers or Negro. I refuse. So, yeah, I'm like, they really dropped the ball, and I think they did that shit on purpose because I don't see any reason why you would fuck up that bad unless you did that on purpose. Either they hired Andrew and he was on some old espionage shit, or they just let him do it because he was targeting closeted gay, closeted homosexuals, especially the ones who are wealthy. But yeah, he gets to that in Donatella gets to, a meeting with the private shareholders and movers and shakers of the company Versace. They are, before Gianni gets assassinated, they had plans to, open his private owned company and make it public owned and put it on the New York Stock Exchange. That's how well he was doing. And now that he's been murdered, she was like, this is a time for family, not strangers. Because a lot of people are going to try to come in and shut things down and try to feed off of us. She was like, even when she was telling Antonio, she was saying, first people weep and then they whisper. We got to be real careful how we move because of everything that's going on. We absolutely cannot make this a private company. We have to keep this, we can't make this a public company. Sorry. We have to keep this private as possible because this is not a time for strangers. We have to be close knit. And so the show basically trying to figure if there's anything else on that show that was significant that I fucked about. No, that was it. But basically, that's the that was the beginning of the story with Gianni Versace's assassination and really introducing us to Andrew Cunanan. This really is the Andrew Cunanan story, kind of the same way OJ, was dealing with OJ with the OJ versus the people versus OJ story. So it really is showing the mind of Andrew Cunanan and how deep you know, his psychopathic, his, you know, his him being a psychopath goes. I can't find the right word for it, so I'm not gonna butcher the word and embarrass myself. I'm just not gonna do that. It just really shows how much of a psychopath that he is, and I'm interested. I'm extremely interested. I'm kind of here for it. I'm very sad that Gianni got murdered the way that he did. Um, but I think this is going to be a very interesting season. I am looking forward to it, and I'm going to review the rest of the season. And I'm going to look up the other clips because I was looking at some news articles, not like the actual articles, but like the news clips as far as the news channels. And they were, doing interviews with Andrew's family. They were talking about his dad. They didn't talk much about his mother, which I think is interesting. But I know his mother did go on record as saying that the only way she described her son was as a homosexual escort. And I was like, that's the only words you got for him? Like, he's not crazy. He's nothing else. There were other people, even the lady. I won't say that. I'll say that for the next video. But there were other people, and they described him as nice and sweet, and he minded his business, and he was a nice guy, and he wasn't inconspicuous, he wasn't suspicious. It was nothing different or out of the ordinary about him. They said he was very scary because he could blend in so well, and because he was so nice and so well spoken and so eloquent. And he was a very handsome guy, and he was Italian and Filipino, and he's very easy on the eyes. Now, when you look into the eyes, you can tell that's a crazy ass motherfucker. You know, that nigga's a blood. He's nuts. You could tell that when you look into his eyes a little bit too long, but he really did seem like he was a master of all trades. But once you let him marinate too long, you see how deep that crazy really is. And if he did get molested by a Catholic priest, I can see where that would come from. That, because you could just have one issue with a person as far as just going through life and finding out who you are. Because by the time all this happened, he was only like 27, 28. So your 20s is just like, you're all over the fucking place. You don't know who you are, where you are, you don't know where you're going, you don't know where you want to be in life. You gotta be really strong willed to get yourself together. So I can see, him having a few issues just by himself. Now, when you start involving sexual assault, especially if it's mass sexual assault, especially if it's really violent and it's a lot and it's just continuous and nonstop and you can't get any protection and you feel like you can't get away from it, I can see all of the end, plus him being spoiled. And then that kind of makes me wonder about his dad. Like, was his dad just spoiling him or was his dad assaulting him too? It's a lot of questions surrounding Andrew. And I'm looking forward to the season because I'm going to keep looking for news clips. I'm going to keep looking for things and we'll talk about what I find. And I'm going to try to put it in the description bar down below. But, that was my review for Season 2, Episode 1 of the Assassination of Gianni Versace, the American crime story. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys for Episode 2. Love you guys. Peace.